Traveler, if you usually book flights on your own, there's something new going on that you'll definitely want to hear about. It's a sneaky little change from Delta Airlines, and it could be quietly draining your wallet without you even noticing. Delta has recently introduced a hidden fee that affects solo travelers. On certain routes, if you're booking a ticket just for yourself, you might actually pay more than someone booking with a partner. When I first heard this, I thought it might just be one of those travel myths, but nope. I checked it out for myself, and it's real. I tested a random route on Google Flights, from Atlanta to Los Angeles. If you search for a single ticket, the price is $249. But if you search for 2 tickets on the same flight, each person pays only $159. That's a $90 difference just for flying alone. It's not a group discount either. I tried looking for 3, 4, and even 5 passengers, and the price per person stayed the same as the 2-ticket rate. This isn't a coincidence or a glitch. It turns out this pricing model is built into some of Delta's lowest fare classes, and it seems to be aimed directly at solo travelers, especially business travelers who often fly alone and use company money to book. Unlike families or couples who tend to hunt for better deals, Delta seems to be betting that business flyers won't notice or care about the extra cost. Not every route is affected, but many one-way domestic flights in the US now show this pattern. So if you're traveling solo anytime soon, here's a quick tip. Try searching for 2 passengers just to compare the prices. You might spot a big difference and find a clever way to save. The issue with this reasoning is that many leisure passengers take solo flights. Ultimately, Delta is figuring out new methods to charge different consumers different fees for the same seat, and the people who are penalized the most are single passengers. Tell us in the comments below. I fly with my partner half the time and alone the other half. I'm not thrilled to learn this about Delta, as you may guess. Unfortunately, Delta is someone I genuinely like. Other airlines, including United and American, may have used the same tactic after the news of Delta's single passenger search fee broke. Additionally, it appears that the solo search fee has been eliminated from a number of these domestic flights operated by Delta in the last week, following a great deal of criticism when this pricing strategy was exposed. Another change that passengers should be aware of is United Airlines' new check-in procedure. All domestic customers must check in online or in person at the airport at least 45 minutes prior to the planned departure time of their trip, according to a tough new regulation that United implemented on June 3, 2025. It appears that even airline check-in agents are unable to change this rule in their system. Therefore, you will not receive a boarding card if you arrive at the airport to check in even 1 minute over that 45-minute limit. Fortunately, United Airlines check-in is still available 24 hours prior to the departure of your trip, so you have plenty of time to check in online or using the United app before you leave for the airport. The next significant shift is coming from Southwest Airlines, which is formally discontinuing some of the unique elements that set them apart. First, they are beginning to charge for checked baggage after more than 50 years of bags fly free. The first checked bag on flights scheduled on or after May 28, 2025 will cost $35, while the second checked bag will cost $45. There are still certain Chase card holders that are eligible for free checked baggage. Depending on the kind of fare booked, flight credits or travel vouchers issued on or after May 28, 2025 will now have expiration dates that are either 6 months or a year from the date of issue. This is the second significant change. Prior to this modification, Southwest credits were perpetual, which was a significant benefit. After that, they will be switching from open seating to allocated seats in 2026. So, you may stop waiting for a window seat by lining up in groups A, B, and C. As an alternative, Southwest will assign seats, and you may pay more for preferred seating or greater legroom. In other words, with the typical surcharges to match, Southwest is becoming to resemble all other airlines. The fourth change that travelers should be aware of concerns the new power bank regulations that are being implemented by airlines worldwide. A portable battery that may be used to charge electronic devices while on the road, such as laptops, tablets, and smartphones, is called a power bank. The usage of power banks in flight is being restricted by airlines worldwide since a fire occurred on a flight in South Korea in early 2025. While some Asian airlines demand that they be kept in your personal belongings beneath your seat rather than in the overhead bins, others have banned their use during flights. Southwest Airlines was the first to impose new power bank limits in the United States, where regulations are also evolving. Portable chargers are no longer usable when stored in the overhead container as of May 2025. In order for airline crew members to take prompt action to ensure everyone's safety in the event of an emergency, it must be easily accessible and visible. Don't put a power bank in your checked luggage or carry-on luggage. Instead, put it in your personal belongings. That is not permitted. Sticking to well-known brands is a smart option. I personally like Anchor and steer clear of cheap knockoffs. Naturally, in case the airline has changed their power bank policy, make sure to review the precise guidelines of the airline you are traveling with. The second shift you should be aware of is the decline of flights to the United States from Canada and Europe. As a Canadian, I can absolutely relate to the hurt this one causes. Reservations from Canada to the US have decreased 33% from the previous summer, and reservations from Europe to the US have declined 10%. Flight routes to the United States have been canceled as fewer people schedule travel there. Airlines such as British Airways, Air France, KLM, WestJet, Air Canada, and Lufthansa are reducing their US flights in favor of Canada, Mexico, Brazil, and the Caribbean. This implies that both foreigners traveling to the United States and Americans attempting to book flights home from overseas will have fewer flight options, higher rates, and less flexibility. Therefore, it may be a little more difficult and a little more expensive for Americans traveling abroad to return home. The partnership between United Airlines and JetBlue has also changed, providing passengers with more advantages and choices. Beginning this autumn, you will be able to earn points, redeem points on both airlines, and book flights on both airlines via their websites. Flying with either of them will also get you top perks. These days, you may use your JetBlue points to purchase a ticket on United Airlines, and vice versa. JetBlue flights allow you to spend your United points if you have them through their Mileage Plus program. Priority boarding and complimentary baggage are two benefits of having airline status with either carrier. United will return to JFK after a long absence in 2027 when they take over part of JetBlue's New York JFK airport slots. In exchange, JetBlue will receive certain Newark slots. It's wonderful to see an airline move that will genuinely benefit passengers, using your points in more ways, choosing more flights, and maintaining your airline status while flying with either carrier are all benefits. There is a significant new requirement that you need to be aware of if you are trying to plan a vacation to the United Kingdom. Before entering the United Kingdom, citizens of the United States, as well as travelers from Canada and a great number of other countries, are now required to submit an application for an electronic travel authorization, sometimes known as an ETA. The implementation of this regulation will begin on January 8, 2025. You will be required to submit a brief online application, supply some fundamental personal information, upload a photo, and pay a charge of £16, which is equivalent to around $18. The ETA is valid for a period of 2 years after it has been authorized, and within that time period, you are permitted to make repeated journeys to the United Kingdom. Although utilizing the mobile app provided by the United Kingdom government is the most convenient way to submit an application, you may also finish the procedure straight on their official website without using the app. The majority of applications are handled within a few days, but it is an excellent idea to apply well in advance in order to prevent any problems that may arise at the very last minute. Prior to allowing you to board, airlines are required to check that you have a valid estimated time of arrival, ETA. This is not only a formality. What is the reason? If you are denied admission into the United Kingdom upon arrival, the airline is responsible for paying for your return flight back to your home country. Making sure that this is taken care of before you go is not just beneficial, it is very necessary. On the horizon for nations that are members of the European Union is a travel clearance system that is comparable. Before going to any country in the European Union, citizens of the United States will be required to register and pay a fee in order to do so. This program is known as ETS. Nevertheless, the launch of ETS has been postponed once more, and it is not anticipated that it will start until sometime in the latter half of 2026. With that out of the way, there is one less item to be concerned about while traveling to Europe. It is important that you pay attention to this regulation, especially if you are traveling into Turkey, because it is not as widely recognized as other rules. There are some flights in which getting up before the seatbelt indicator comes off might really result in a citation. Despite the fact that the seatbelt warning light is still on, it is standard practice for passengers to disengage their seatbelts and get up as soon as the plane touches down. However, in Turkey, this practice is now being taken seriously. The authorities have begun to levy fines against those who choose to get up while the airplane is still in the process of taxiing to the gate. There is also a requirement for flight crews to report these regulatory infractions. In view of the fact that Istanbul Airport is one of the most connected hubs in the world, and that almost all foreign flights to Turkey are subject to this restriction, it is prudent to remain seated and belted until you receive a clear signal that it is safe to stand. The fines can be quite severe, ranging from several hundred to even thousands of dollars in total compensation. In conclusion, let's talk about maintaining our connections. In this day and age, it is very necessary to be able to use your phone as soon as the airplane touches down, regardless of whether you are traveling to Turkey or to another country in the world. As a result, I have collaborated with SY to provide you with convenient choices for remaining connected to the internet as soon as you arrive. As a result of travel laws, several airlines have also modified their in-flight services this year, with some of these updates being for the better and others being for the worst. It is essential to maintain awareness of these alterations in order to have a clear understanding of what to anticipate along your journey.